instructors. Mike Small, your regional training coordinator, coming to you from snowy Colorado. First of all, I want to thank you guys for doing such a fantastic job in 2010, and I'm expecting great things in 2011. The purpose of our meeting today is to go over the 2011 Pearson VUE National Addendum. You have been sent an addendum already in your instructor packs, and we have also emailed you the addendum. Just want to go over some finer points to make sure that we are covering it correctly in the classroom. First, chapter 1 is in types of policies, interest market sensitive life insurance products. Equity index life has been added to our curriculum, so just need to make sure that you're discussing that. It's basically a whole life policy where the cash value is dependent on the market, on an equity index like the S&P 500, for instance. Okay, nothing more complicated than what we already been teaching about equity index. Okay, and C, term life, they have added return of premium. Okay, and this is simply a term policy where at the end of the term, instead of the policy expiring, the person, if they outlive their policy, the premiums are returned to that person. What usually happens in this case is the policy is somewhere between 25 and 50% more. Please do not get into in the class whether this is good, bad, or indifferent. All we want people to be able to do is understand how return of premium policies work, and whether they're good or bad is for that person to determine. We don't want to get into that in the classroom. There is an example in your addendum of how one works, talking about a 30-year-old pays $380 annual premium. Make sure you use that example, don't make up your own. Okay. Also, annual renewable has been, I guess, re-added because we've taught that for years. But again, annual renewable term is the foundation of really all life insurance. And with annual renewable term, even though it can be renewable, guaranteed renewable, it still gets more expensive each year that a person has to renew because they're getting older. Chapter 2, policy riders, provisions, options, and exclusions. We've deleted the cost of living rider, so please do not teach cost of living rider anymore. They have added long-term care as a rider. Now, we've talked about long-term care as policies, independent policies before, but in this case, they're adding a long-term care rider, generally to a whole life policy. Could be to a term, but generally it's to a whole life policy. And in this case, it works a lot like your accelerated death benefit, where a person is able to take that money from their face amount, pay long-term care, and then the remainder of that is paid to the beneficiary upon death. So then number 8, return of premium. This is a rider on a whole life policy, and basically you use an increasing term policy to not only pay the death benefit, but also pay the total of premiums back to the beneficiary. So they're using an increasing term policy to provide that. In chapter 3, on completing the application, underwriting, and delivering the policies, we've added the U.S. Patriot Act, basically anti-money laundering. I know it's kind of new to us, but there's nothing difficult about it. Actually, we just really need to read that, become familiar with it. It's basically an anti-money laundering policy, and you want to cover all of the bullet points where it talks about the anti-money laundering program consists of the following minimum requirements. I'm not going to go through them all, but I want you to go over those points with your class. Then that leads to the suspicious activity reports rules. Okay, now in this case they have a dollar amount in here where if there's a $5,000 transaction and the entity that you're working with determines that there may be some suspicious activity, then they can report that to the government. And it's based on has no business or lawful purpose, is obtained to prevaricate other reporting constraints, uses financial institutions or insurers to assist in criminal activity, on and on and on. Actually, I could read all the bullets, and all of these are going to be about they suspect some criminal activity. So make sure they're familiar with the criminal activity and the fact that it's a $5,000 transaction amount. Then going down to section B, underwriting. Another new one is the stranger originated life insurance, as well as investor originated life insurance. In both cases, in most states, these are illegal. In both cases, the person is buying insurance, a third party is buying insurance and has no insurable interest. Okay? In the case of investor originated, it's usually on seniors that are 70 years or older. And these people are buying this as an investment. So again, we don't want to get into whether or not these are good or bad. We don't want to get into really, we want to stay away from that and just make sure that everybody understands what it is. Okay. Then we have the do not call list. That's going to be deleted. And then taxes, retirement, and other insurance concepts. So you're going to go over really what we've talked about for years with our financial needs analysis. So you're going to have survivor protection, which is really our total concept, where we were providing for that survivor's needs, replacing income, paying off debt, the value of a non-working spouse, etc. Then you're going to have cash accumulation. This is going to deal with the cash value policy. Some people are buying it strictly for the cash accumulation. Usually going to be an accelerated type of policy where they can accelerate the cash value. Then, of course, liquidity. What is liquidity in an insurance policy? Again, cash value, because you can borrow the cash value, then it is liquid. We've always talked about insurance creating an estate. Basically, a person pass away, the death benefit creates an immediate estate. And then, of course, there's also estate conservation. And this is usually going to be in a survivorship type policy where you're going to use the death benefit to pay estate taxes. And that's going to conserve an estate. And on G, the accelerated death benefit and living benefit, we've deleted that because it's no longer on the test. And we've also deleted endowments, which in my mind means we also don't need to talk about modified endowment contracts because it's an endowment contract. So I'm not going to teach endowment. There's no need to teach modified endowment contract. Okay, so hopefully that clarifies the areas that you need to be talking about in class, preparing people for the exam. Remember that we teach people to pass an insurance exam, not teach insurance. Okay? Have a great day. You guys are doing a phenomenal job, and I'll be out to see you soon. Thank you.